Hey friends, we've made it to England. We are now here for 24 hours. Not quite. I landed yesterday, but with the flights from Chicago, I left on Monday, but arrived here Tuesday morning, and then it is now Wednesday afternoon. So take whatever timing you will for that. But we're here, we made it. Little update on all the things we've done so far, and that is I'm not staying in a normal hotel room. I'm actually staying at the Imperial College. So it's just like a desk, chair. The accommodations are quite nice, but it's definitely like dorm vibes. It's got its own bathroom, so I'm not gonna actually show you, maybe some other time. Which the bathroom's crazy because they have a warning that are like, make sure you keep the door closed when you shower, use this bathroom because you're gonna set off the fire alarm. And I literally flushed the toilet and opened the door, and it set off my alarm. And I can actually hear, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can hear the fire alarm somewhere else going off. And I'm just like, we're all gonna have to learn this lesson, that you keep that door closed and be terrified the entire time. But this one, I say, highly recommend actually for if you're like a one person going around, or have like a group, because it's got more flexibility, I feel like, than a normal hotel for like a decent price. And I love the idea of hostels, which are more common around here because it can be very cheap, but also I don't need to only spend $10 on an accommodation. So I'm like, I'd rather my own bedroom. But the hostels around here are supposed to be pretty nice. It's like when you basically share a bunk bedroom with people rather than having your own individual one, but still very reasonable. The one weird thing is about this, since it's a dorm, it's not available. It's only considered a summer accommodation, which that's another American thing where I'm like, when's school starting? It's already September, but I guess it's the end of the month. So whereas universities where I am would already be started, they're not started yet here. It's like a couple more weeks, or 2-3 more weeks, like I said, 23rd, something like that, end of the month. Not a ton of cultural shock here, but maybe it's because London's a very international city where I'm like, you see all kinds. It's not just white people. It's like, I hear a lot of French, seen a lot of people who are from India, heard a lot of Chinese. I guess it depends on where you're at. The other thing that's very interesting, at least so far, that's made me feel the most American, which is not a lot, because nobody's like, wow, you're American, is the fact that they walk on the left here too. So the amount of times I've accidentally started drifting over to the right and then suddenly realized that I was getting in everybody's way has really been the part that I'm like, what is going on here? And then I found out from my cousin who lives here, they were like, yeah, you walk on the left. And that's one of the things they had to spend a lot of time learning too. So far, walked around a lot. The other thing that's nice around here is when you're walking around, there is just like cool architecture everywhere. London's a big city, but lots of interesting things are close together and easy to get to. It would be more easy to get to if there wasn't a strike going on, which I don't know what my luck is, but every time I'm in Europe, there's always some strike that's ruining my life. Like when I was first in Italy, there was a waste removal strike, and now this time there is a what strike is this one? It's the tube, so only the underground, but not, well, in some of the buses. So some of the public transit is not functioning, but not all of it. And then there's also a difference between like the trains and the underground, which is actually very similar to Chicago, to be honest. But anywho, not everything controlled, this would be like not everything controlled by the CTA is affecting everything here. So yeah, that's so far so good. I also got really lucky that I didn't have to pay some crazy cab fee to get into the city. They actually were selling tickets for the Express Elizabeth line. So if you're trying to navigate from Heathrow Airport to London, they actually do have a direct train that's running right now that is going from Heathrow train to Paddington. But that's the trouble right now. I got very lucky that where I'm staying was walking distance from Paddington Station. I didn't plan that. It just ended up being that way. So hot tip, take the train, the express train. It actually will take like 15-20 minutes, quite easy. So that's so far today. Did a high tea, which I wanted to do, walked around a bit, saw some neat things. It's raining now. It was beautiful yesterday, and it's kind of like not as bad now, but it's on and off rain, so I can see where when I first got here I'm like, London's beautiful, and then I'm like, I can see where the rain might cause the depression. But it's actually not so bad. Right now it's just giving very deep fall, like New England vibes, versus back home where September is still pretty in it for summer. We don't really change weather until like October. At least not this severely. They already have all this, they woke me up. They had all these leaves blowing this morning. So yeah, from here, I'm gonna go see a show on the West End. I'm gonna go see Hercules because I appreciate theater, but I'm also not that intense of a person about it. I felt like I should. And I have one tiny story for you all before I go, and that is, so I went to this high tea. Somebody needs to tell me if this is normal or not. I went to this high tea, and it was fine. I got tiers, lunches, whatever. My cousin already told me that like tipping isn't really the same thing around here for food. So like the price is just the price. And even when I was at like a little cafe getting something, like the person who was at the register, I saw the tip sign come up and they like canceled it out before it even got to me. So tipping is usually included. They're like, yeah, you'll see a line item for service charge. You know, like that is something that you can technically have removed, but that's like for the wait staff, right? So it's like they do charge separate, sort of like in the USA, but instead of it being like on top of, it's just included in the price. And you can technically have it removed. And then my cousin told me a big story about how they're like, I've only ever removed the service charge twice, and it's usually like for really poor service. And today, I thought it was crazy that I saw like a couple, they're clearly British, like they were here also having a high tea for someone's birthday. And I know they're British because I can hear them. I can hear the accent. And the guy reviews the bill before paying. It was a couple. They was there for this like lady's birthday. How I know? Because they literally brought out like an extra treat for them of like chocolate bonbons and like a little candle. It's like, so happy birthday. Hope it was like kind of like a little speech. It was like, hope you had the most amazing time and all your like dreams come true and like you're proud of yourself, stuff like that. Like it was like, so it's, it's their birthday. It was her birthday, and then the guy had the bill and he was paying, and he like read through it and he was like, oh, is the service charge required? Or he used a different word for it, mandated, like, oh, compulsory. That's what he said. He's like, is the service charge compulsory? And he was just like, they're like, no. He's like, okay, can I have it removed because I'm a student? And I was like, what? And maybe this is because of me, I've heard enough time with like food service and stuff, like if you can't afford to tip, like, or pay for the service you're receiving, like you can't afford to go out, like that's part of the price. So anyway, and the other thing is like, it wasn't bad service. He's like, yeah, I want it removed. And then they're like, I hope you enjoyed your meal. And he was like, oh yeah, don't be surprised if you see us again. And I'm just like, see you again? You took off the service charge. Like, I hope they, like, I feel like if I was a waiter, I'd be like, never see me again. So yeah, somebody leave me a comment if this is actually like more normal that you might remove the service charge to like reduce cost. or what, because like, I mean, I know it's not perfect America where people don't tip, right? But I was just like, I've never would have thought, be like, yeah, remove, like, I need you to remove this because I can't actually afford the meal I just had if it's on there. And also, if you're already British, you know that that's part of the price. So anyway, that was me being like, I don't understand what's going on here. It doesn't make any sense to my American mind. But otherwise, honestly, London is not that, like, it's different in that there's different things to look at and ways to move around, but it's not really culture shock. More like just people be rude everywhere. My other last observation is I've started noticing different colors, like different cities have colors. And like Chicago, if you're there, you'll know what I mean. That like Chicago's color is definitely like a light blue. Like that is the color of the city. And around here, the color of London is definitely red. Like the double-decker buses, the divvy bikes, or theirs aren't divvy, they're like Uber something. Anyway, the phone call booth. So it's definitely like a red accent city. Yeah. So anyway, those are thoughts. I'm gonna go to my theater show and I will update you all later. Bye.